Fiziev is an elite Muay Thai striker. The guy is an expert at striking. He's an expert at finishing his opponents. Obviously, Gaethje is as well. I mean, out of Gaethje's 23 wins, 19 have been by knockout. So you know this fight has a high likelihood. If you were to be putting money on a fight ending with a knockout, this would be the fight to do it. What's up, boys and girls? It's Jesse Rowe with Inside Fighting, and I'm here with How to F Up Your Parlay. We're going to be diving into the odds and the bets for the fights coming up this weekend at UFC 286 with a long-awaited rematch between Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards for the welterweight strap. And this fight card has some unbelievable fights also on the main card, but we're going to be diving into my top 3 picks for this card and the fights that I think have good value and that I'm confident in when putting some money down. First, we're going to start with a fight that has some pretty big, significant implications for the middleweight division. It's Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. Vettori is a minus 260 favorite. Dolidze is a plus 220 underdog. This is a matchup of two guys that are sort of on two different trajectories here a little bit. And Vettori, you know, obviously in the rankings, this is a big fight for Vettori because it's not necessarily make or break, but it's going to tell you a lot about where he stands in terms of title contention. Vettori is the 4th ranked middleweight, where Dolidze is the 9th ranked middleweight. So it's obviously he's fighting back in his division, where this is huge for Dolidze, who, you know, if he beats a guy like Marvin Vettori, who's ranked above him, he's going to be considered for some title contention scenarios. So it's make or break for Vettori, who did take a step back from last fight. Obviously, he lost 3 fights ago. He lost to Adesanya for the title. Then he beat Paulo Costa by unanimous decision. And then he got thoroughly outclassed by Robert Whittaker in his last fight at UFC Paris. There's a great argument for Vettori to win this fight. He's younger. He's only 29 years old. So the time is on his side in terms of being able to stay in title contention. And Dolidze is 34, so he's 5 years older, but Dolidze has longer reach, 2 inches of reach. He's 2 inches taller. Of Vettori's 18 wins, only 2 of them have been by knockout. He has trouble finishing his opponents, whereas Dolidze, I believe, is 7 of his 12 wins have been by knockout. And he's on a 4-fight win streak with 3 of those wins being by knockout over Kyle Daukaus, Phil Haas, Jack Hermanson were 3 of the guys that he knocked out. Obviously, Vettori is a mainstay in this division, but at plus 220, a fighter who really needs this fight at 34 years old. He's on a win streak. This is the biggest fight of Dolidze's career. I think this is going to be a tough fight for Vettori, and I'm going to be taking Dolidze in this situation at that plus 220. Next, we got the fight that a lot of people would consider to be sort of like the people's main event on this card. It's Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev is a minus 240 favorite. Gaethje is a plus 200 underdog. This is truly a make or break fight for Gaethje, unlike Vettori, where it's only kind of. Gaethje's lost twice fighting for the belt against Khabib and against Charles Oliveira. And he kind of needs to win this one in order to stay in contention. He's also fighting back in this. Gaethje is the number 3 ranked lightweight, and Fiziev is the number 6 ranked lightweight. If Gaethje doesn't win this one, I think we can sort of that door starts to close a little bit more on his chances ever being able to fight for the title again. Whereas that door is wide open for a guy like Fiziev, and I think this is just a tough fight for Justin. Fiziev is an elite Muay Thai striker. The guy is an expert at striking. He's an expert at finishing his opponents. Obviously, Gaethje is as well. I mean, out of Gaethje's 23 wins, 19 have been by knockout. So you know this fight has a high likelihood. If you were to be putting money on a fight ending with a knockout, this would be the fight to do it. Just 19 of Justin Gaethje's 23 wins have been by knockout. So he's always a threat. And he was a giant killer in this division for a long time, taking out guys like Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, Donald Cerrone, Edson Barbosa. But he's also been in a lot of big wars, and he's taken a lot of damage. And he's 34 years old. Fiziev is 30 years old. Fiziev hasn't lost since his UFC debut. He lost in his very first fight. He took a roundhouse kick to the head and lost his first fight. And since then, he's won 6 in a row. And even at minus 240, I like the odds for Fiziev in this fight. And yeah, as much as I love Justin Gaethje, I am taking Rafael. And finally, we have the actual main event. This is the trilogy fight that everybody's been waiting for. It is Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 3. Edwards is a plus 200 underdog. Usman is a minus 240 favorite. It's incredible that the champion is a plus 200 underdog coming off of fight, and he's fighting the guy that he just beat and knocked out. But it makes sense when you consider, if you watch the last 2 fight times that they have fought, especially the last fight, Kamaru Usman was dominating those first 4 rounds. He was up 3-1 going into the 5th round. But there are a few reasons why I don't think it's as obvious of a pick for Kamaru Usman. First off, Leon Edwards is 31 years old. Usman is 35. Leon's on a 10-fight win streak. He lost his first UFC fight, lost his 4th to Kamaru. That was not for the title. He's got wins over Nate Diaz, Rafael dos Anjos, Gunnar Nelson, Donald Cerrone, and he was winning against Bilal Muhammad before that fight ended in an unintentional eye poke. He ends up knocking out Kamaru in the title fight in the 5th round when he was losing. Obviously, everybody knows that moment, one of the most incredible moments in the history of this sport. Kamaru Usman is actually a great pick at minus 240. He was a minus 350 favorite the last time they fought, and he was 51 seconds away from winning that fight unanimously. So obviously, it's a very good bet for Kamaru, but I just have a feeling that Leon Edwards has made all the right adjustments to be able to keep it closer than it was before that knockout situation. I don't know if we're going to be in a similar situation where like Leon's down 4-0 or 3-1 going into a 5th round. I like Leon's striking compared to Kamaru's. Obviously, Kamaru's wrestling is fantastic, but I just think that Leon is going to be prepared for this moment. I love the odds at plus 200. I think he's an incredible high-value pick when you consider he's fighting in front of his home crowd. He seems genuinely amped up at the opportunity. You know, he put every ounce of his hard work into this, and you don't know what being knocked out like that, what kind of an impact that has on a guy like Kamaru at 35 years old, trying to come back immediately, fighting for the title after getting knocked out like that. Very few fighters come back from knockouts like that. Obviously, Leon took down Kamaru for the first time in his career in the last fight, won the 1st round, but after that, didn't have much else other than the head kick knockout. I have a feeling it's going to happen again, though, and I have a feeling this fight might end by knockout. I am taking Leon as a high-value underdog. Rarely does a champion on a double-digit win streak get these sorts of odds, so I think it's a good bet. I don't blame you for betting Kamaru. I think that's a great bet too. But I love the odds that Leon is getting in his home crowd. And that leads me to my parlay of the week. The theme will be winning by knockout for the 3 picks I just laid out for you, where I would take Fiziev by knockout, Edwards by knockout, and Dolidze by knockout. If you were to bet those 3 fights to win by KO, TKO, or DQ, you would get a plus 150 for Fiziev, a plus 500 for Dolidze, and a plus 450 for Edwards, and that would amount to a plus 8150 if those 3 fights end in a knockout. And I like that because Dolidze half of his fights been won by knockout. Same with Fiziev. And obviously Edwards has gone more of the decision route in a lot of his fights, but we know that he has the knockout capability, and we know that it could be a situation where he just clips Usman once and then he can ground and pound win to a TKO situation. So I do like that pick as well. Risk $10, win 825 at plus 8150. I like that. It's worth a bet, guys. So let me know what you guys think of my picks. I don't blame you for betting on Justin Gaethje. I don't blame you for betting on Kamaru Usman. I wouldn't blame you for betting on Marvin Vettori. These are just the picks that I think make the most sense for this weekend. Put some money down. Thank me later. Just make sure that you guys send a percentage my way when you guys are eating lobster for the next week, living on a yacht, living the high life. Let's go. Let's fuck up some parlays, and we'll see you later. Peace.